Sleipnir. Most cranes can lift a car. This one can lift an entire oil platform. The Sleipnir is a semi-submersible crane vessel built by Semcorp Marine in Singapore for the Dutch company Heerema Marine Contractors and delivered to the sea in 2019. It is 220 meters long, 102 meters wide, and equipped with 2 revolving cranes that can each lift 10,000 tons. Operated in tandem, the 2 cranes together can lift 20,000 tons in a single operation, which is more than the weight of a fully loaded Airbus A380 airliner. 20 of them. The vessel itself displaces 273,700 tons, cost $1.5 billion to build, and is powered by 12 dual-fuel engines that can run on marine diesel or liquefied natural gas. It accommodates up to 400 crew, and its primary job is installing and removing oil platforms from the seafloor. In October 2022, it broke the world offshore lifting record during decommissioning operations in the North Sea. There is nothing else like it on Earth. It is a ship that exists to move things that no other ship can move. Pioneering spirit. If the Sleipnir moves oil platforms in pieces, this one moves them whole. The pioneering spirit was built by Daewoo Shipbuilding in South Korea for the Swiss company Allseas and delivered in 2016. It is 382 meters long, 124 meters wide, and shaped like a giant catamaran with a 122 meter slot cut into its bow. It uses that slot to straddle an oil platform, then 8 hydraulic lifting beams slide underneath, and the entire platform, weighing up to 48,000 tons, is lifted clear of the sea in one piece. Nothing else has ever been built that can do this. It cost 2.6 billion euros, has an installed power output of 95 megawatts, and can accommodate 571 crew. It is the largest construction vessel ever built by gross tonnage, breadth, and displacement. Every oil platform in the North Sea that reaches the end of its life could, in theory, be removed by this one ship. Herrenknecht S-880. Some machines dig a hole. This one carves a tunnel through the earth wide enough to drive a 4-lane motorway through. The Herrenknecht S-880, nicknamed Qinliangyu, was built in Schwanau, Germany for a Hong Kong tunneling project connecting Tuen Mun and Chek Lap Kok. Its shield diameter is 17.63 meters, which made it the largest tunnel boring machine ever built by shield diameter, according to the Guinness World Records. It weighs 4,850 tons. It is 120 meters long from cutting head to the trailing gear at the back. It has an installed power of 5,600 kilowatts and a torque of 27,000 kilonewton meters. It launched in 2015, worked 30 meters below sea level, and completed its first tunnel section in November of that year. Then its shield was cut down to a smaller diameter and it went on to finish more of the tunnel. It is one of only 2 machines in history ever built at this scale. A larger one was ordered for a project in Russia. That project was cancelled and the machine was never built. 3 Gorges Dam. The Sleipnir moves oil rigs. This one holds back a river. The 3 Gorges Dam is a concrete gravity dam built across the Yangtze River in Hubei Province, China. It is 2,335 meters long. It is 181 meters tall. It contains over 27 million cubic meters of concrete. Construction began in 1994. The reservoir began filling in 2003. The dam became fully operational in 2012, when the last of its 32 main turbines, each generating 700 megawatts, came online. The total installed capacity of the dam is 22,500 megawatts, making it the largest hydroelectric power station in the world by installed capacity. The reservoir behind it holds 39.3 billion cubic meters of water and stretches 600 kilometers upstream. Over 1.2 million people were relocated during its construction. In 2020, the dam set a world record for annual power generation, producing 111.88 terawatt-hours of electricity in a single year. It is not just the largest dam ever built. It is one of the largest power stations of any type ever built. Seawise Giant. If the 3 Gorges Dam is the largest object that holds still, this was the largest object that moved. The Seawise Giant, later renamed Happy Giant, Yar Viking, Nok Nevis, and finally Mont, was an ultra-large crude carrier oil tanker built by Sumitomo Heavy Industries in Yokosuka, Japan between 1974 and 1979. It was 458.45 meters long, 68 meters wide, and had a laden draft of 24.6 meters, which meant it could not fit through the English Channel, the Suez Canal, or the Panama Canal. Fully loaded, its displacement was 657,019 tons. It could carry over 4 million barrels of crude oil in a single voyage. It was sunk during the Iran-Iraq War, salvaged, restored, and returned to service. Its final years were spent moored off the coast of Qatar as a floating storage unit. It was sold to Indian shipbreakers in 2009 and scrapped in 2010. It remains the longest self-propelled ship ever built. By deadweight tonnage, no ship before or since has come close. Airlander 10. Not every giant machine is on the ground or in the water. Some are in the air. The Airlander 10 is a hybrid airship built by the British company Hybrid Air Vehicles, and it is the largest aircraft currently flying anywhere in the world by length. It is 92 meters long, 43.5 meters wide, and derives most of its lift from a helium-filled hull with an aerodynamic shape that also generates lift through forward motion. 4 turbocharged diesel engines producing 325 horsepower each drive it forward at cruising speeds of around 100 kilometers per hour. It can carry 100 passengers or 10 tons of cargo, stay airborne for 5 days without landing, and does not require a runway. Its predecessor at the top of the list, the Antonov An-225 Maria, was the largest operational aircraft ever built by maximum takeoff weight, but it was destroyed by shelling at Hostomel Airport in Ukraine in February 2022. That leaves the Airlander 10 at 92 meters as the largest aircraft currently flying above the Earth. Commercial passenger operations are targeted for 2028. International Space Station. The Airlander flies above the Earth. This one orbits it. The International Space Station is the largest human-made object ever placed in orbit around Earth. It is 109 meters long across its solar arrays, which is longer than the wingspan of an Airbus A380. It is 73 meters wide, from one end of the truss to the other. It has a mass of approximately 420,000 kilograms, which required over 40 assembly launches carried out over 13 years to place in orbit. Construction began in 1998, when the Russian module Zarya was launched. The first crew arrived in November 2000, and the station has been continuously inhabited ever since, meaning humans have not left it for over 25 years without immediately being replaced by other humans. It orbits at an altitude between 370 and 460 kilometers, moving at 28,000 kilometers per hour, which means it completes a full orbit of the Earth every 90 minutes. It is a joint project of 5 space agencies from the United States, Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada. It is scheduled to be deliberately deorbited into the Pacific Ocean in 2031. Saturn V. Every machine on this list was built by human hands. This one was built to leave the planet those hands were standing on. The Saturn V was an American 3-stage rocket developed by NASA for the Apollo program. It was 111 meters tall, 10 meters in diameter, and weighed 2,800 tons fully fueled. Its 5 first-stage F1 engines produced a combined thrust of 34.5 meganewtons, or 7.6 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. That was enough to lift 140 tons of payload into low Earth orbit, or send nearly 50 tons of spacecraft, fuel, and crew all the way to the moon. It launched 13 times between 1967 and 1973. It never lost a crew. It carried 24 astronauts on flights that reached the moon, and 12 of them walked on its surface. After Apollo ended, the Saturn V was retired and its manufacturing tooling was scrapped. It remained the most powerful rocket ever flown for nearly 50 years. It has since been surpassed in raw thrust by NASA's Space Launch System and SpaceX's Starship, but no rocket ever built has yet matched what the Saturn V did to the moon. Large Hadron Collider. The last machine on this list is not a ship, an aircraft, or a rocket. It is a 27-kilometer circular tunnel buried 100 meters beneath the border between France and Switzerland, filled with liquid helium colder than empty space and containing 2 beams of protons traveling at 99.99999% of the speed of light in opposite directions around the ring. The Large Hadron Collider is the largest and most powerful particle accelerator ever built. It was constructed by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, known as CERN, between 1998 and 2008 in collaboration with over 10,000 scientists from more than 100 countries. It first collided particles in 2010. Each of its 2 proton beams currently reaches 6.8 tera-electron volts, producing collision energies of 13.6 tera-electron volts. It was the machine that confirmed the existence of the Higgs boson in 2012, a subatomic particle that gives mass to every other particle in the universe. It is not the largest machine ever built to move mass. It is the largest machine ever built to answer a question, and in 2029, it will begin a decade-long upgrade designed to make it 10 times more sensitive than it currently is. It is the closest humans have ever come to recreating the conditions of the early universe. If you want to see more of humanity's largest achievements, subscribe to Odd Machines and let us know in the comments which one of these you would actually want to see in person.